Time for a little bit of a pulse check on Bitcoin price. This is Bitcoin on the daily. A little red candle right now. Still 9.5 hours left of the Bitcoin daily candle. Here's ADA on the daily chart. Resistance at this upper trend line. Insane resistance right now for ADA, right around the 80-cent area. I want to break down the ADA charts as well. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. Let's start with Bitcoin. We'll pivot to ADA. I want to make this very just short, to the point, and simple in terms of what I'm watching for in these crypto markets. Here's Bitcoin on the daily. The first thing I want to make a note of, Bitcoin overbought on the daily chart. Now, what I'm going to say is, I don't want it to sound crazy. I enjoy up only. I enjoy green candle after green candle after green candle. But there is a certain comfort that I find in red candles, especially in bull markets. And that's kind of what I want to explain right now. So certainly there's the case where Bitcoin could keep going right now, right? The inflows in terms of the Bitcoin spot ETFs alone is absolutely incredible. And just the demand right now for Bitcoin and for crypto in general, the interest, it's just growing. And retail, I don't even think really here yet in the masses. So here's where Bitcoin is on the daily. Bitcoin right now, you can just see, we've been kind of using this reversal zone in red that you see here as just this visualization tool to understand when Bitcoin usually needs to just cool down a little bit, right? So it starts getting out of this red zone right here, for instance. This was back in February, end of February. Pulling in, relaxing, right? Consolidating sideways, maybe a dip. Here we go again. Out of that reversal zone, cooling down. What I want to just show you and really talk about is the 20-day moving average, as well as the 50-day moving average. This is an area that is crucial for me, really in a bear market as well, but in a bull market, right? Higher highs and higher lows above these areas, but at times touching and pulling into these areas. So the reason I'm bringing that up, if we go back to the last cycle, I just want to show you, here's Bitcoin. Basically, if we zoom all the way out, Bitcoin broke all-time high. Just to give you an idea, to give a sense of where we are this cycle, Bitcoin broke all-time high, like right around here. Nice, powerful move. Here are those bull market doors that we see, you know, on the zoomed out, these rectangles, this lower high Fibonacci resistance, that bull market door area being broken. It has been, in cycles past, the catalyst for the parabolic bull that followed. That just happened for Bitcoin, right? So here's what it looked like happening back in 2020. Doors broken. But what I want to point out is, look at even right away, this 20-day moving average, the consolidation for Bitcoin, cooling down. Once, a little bit of move to upside, and then twice cooling down. And what happened? If we look at the Bitcoin RSI, this slower moving momentum oscillator, Bitcoin was overbought, right? Making moves through the bull market doors. Things were getting really bullish back then. You remember November 2020. And then it's very similar to now. Just broke the doors. Things are very bullish, but check it out. Bitcoin is kind of really hanging out up here, right? There's not been this sense of consolidation from a momentum perspective like there was right here, where Bitcoin was kind of actually just cooling down right there, pulling into the 20-day a couple times. And if we go back and we look at the last bull market in general, you can see it kind of just did that, right? It did it again up here, Bitcoin pulling into the moving averages, actually the 50 moving average, really big consolidation for Bitcoin. And even along the way, these red candles, look at that wick right to the downside really fast. Like, let me consolidate real quick and then continue to the upside. So we almost kind of got a candle like that the other day, if you remember right here. That was March 5th. But there really has not been too much of a cool down for Bitcoin. And my purpose of saying that isn't saying, hey, we're about to cool down, we're going to the 20-day moving average, you know. But I do want to just say there is normalcy in a move like that, right? So we can monitor the next leg up for Bitcoin. For me, I'll really be watching this continued visualization tool, the upper end of it in $77,000, $78,000 area. If Bitcoin wants to just make another power move to the upside, $5,000 move to the upside, it's in play before another cool down of some sort. $85,000 target, that's in play to the upside. We have this rising wedge for Bitcoin. You can just see it. That $85,000 target is in play. The $70,000 target has been hit. Let me just get rid of that. But there's room to the upside. But my point in doing this and showing this is to say, if there is a consolidation, let's let it happen. And probably, I would even say, be grateful for it, because we're in a bull market and consolidations are necessary. But again, maybe there's so much demand. Maybe the only consolidations we're going to really see are just days like this red candle right there. That was the consolidation. maybe days like this. I don't know. But I'm always anticipating, further moves to the downside. Bitcoin could make a really powerful move back into the 60s before continuing higher. Let me just do a reminder here. I meant to start with this. Bitcoin on the monthly. We just had this look at this 20-week moving or 20-month moving average. Look at this, just crossing the blue 50-month moving average. Look at this. That is a bullish move right there. Not only that, a reminder of where we are in this cycle. Bitcoin in this bull market, right around 76 on the monthly RSI. 2020 was all the way up here, just to give you a sense of how high it went. And I should also make a note, even when it touched that area, the high wasn't even in yet, right? So 2017, all the way up there around 96, 95, 2013, around 98. So Bitcoin still a ton of ways to go from a momentum perspective. This is what I'm watching for Bitcoin, both on the macro and on the more zoomed in. Going over to ADA. Are you serious with this resistance? I want to say this. Are you serious with the repetition of ADA price through these cycles? And let me just show you what I mean. So as you know, when I zoom out on an ADA chart, I've been following this structure that's been happening, right? This move right here, so similar to the move back here. And it is of no surprise, Bitcoin was breaking bull market doors back here in November, right? As well as Bitcoin breaking all-time highs back right around here in December. This is what the ADA charts were doing, almost identical to what ADA charts are doing right now. And so ADA is getting a lot of hate. I mean, I see a ton of negativity in my comments because I track ADA. It's an interest of mine. And that seems to trigger some people, but it's an interest of mine, and I'm very bullish on ADA. And there's a lot of people like, ADA's done. ADA's done. But for me, as I view the technicals, it's incredible to see how consistent this move is. But if we start even digging into even shorter term structure and shorter term things that were happening in this area, that's where things become even more crazy. So if we go back and we look at the daily chart, here's where we are. Just put aside last cycle for just a moment. ADA is at this upper trend line, right? It's almost like I woke up today and ADA was like testing 80 cents. And I was like, okay, we're testing this upper trend line. See what happens. I start my day, and of course, ADA just starts falling. It's consolidating right now. I pointed this out before. Last cycle, when Bitcoin broke all-time high, 2020, I think it was December 16th, ADA went on to fall 30% or so. ADA went on to fall 30%. Bitcoin's making moves, and ADA went to fall 30%. Imagine people then saying, ADA's done. Bitcoin's all-time high territory, breaking all-time high, and ADA's not even close to all-time high, and it's falling 30%. How bearish is that? So here's where we are in ADA. Bitcoin just the other day broke all-time high. I think it was like March 11th, and ADA's not really done much. Am I saying that it's going to fall 30%? I'm not. But what I can say is if ADA did fall 30%, let's say 26%, it would actually be normal. It would be what it did last cycle. And I hate to say that, that just is what it is. ADA went on to be an incredibly bullish crypto after this move, but that's just how ADA operated, right? So the reason I'm bringing that up is just for a couple points. Number one is because when we're actually analyzing, and then we'll talk about the upside, but when we're analyzing what's happening here and the resistance here, and even we're talking about potential consolidation for Bitcoin on the daily chart, when we're analyzing these things, we do have to keep in mind downside, right? When it comes to ADA price. So if we're looking at downside, I'm watching the 20-day moving average around 8% or so away from where ADA is right now. I'm watching the 50-day moving average around 20% from where ADA is right now. And I'm watching the lower trend line. It's around 25 to 30% from where ADA is right now. That lower trend line is an exact repeat of last cycle in the same exact time of last cycle when Bitcoin's breaking all-time highs. I don't want to see it happen. I just know if it happened, I would be like, you got to be kidding me. It's repeating exactly. So those are support areas that I'd be watching for ADA. On the short term, though, and I think I mentioned this in my last ADA video, this kind of move that happened back here, you can see ADA just tested this first swing high. It was the beginning of this upper trend line. And then it just started consolidating into the 20-day moving average. and then actually ultimately fell below the 20-day moving average. The test is the same right now. What's going to happen at this 20-day moving average? If I just do this, you can actually see the potential. If it holds, if the 20-day moving average support holds, it's just a potential for kind of this rising wedge. Maybe even you can even just kind of look at it as like an ascending triangle happening right here, and this could be the moment for ADA to break out to 90 cent to $1 area. This could be the structure actually forming on the short term. And if this happened, I just want to say something. This would be ADA kind of diverging from last cycle. Remember, it's hard to say this, but if ADA did what it did last cycle at this moment, it's going to fall 30%, 20 to 30%. That's what would be normal. So for ADA to diverge from that would be to see support probably, and this is just a hypothetical, right? Maybe it falls to the 50 and then it goes higher. But if we see structure now between this upper trend line and this 20-day moving average, this could be a piece of structure for the breakout to that 90 cent to $1 area. Let's just call it $1 area. This could be the case for $1. This is a daily chart with March 14th. Maybe it's closer to the apex of this structure. If it happens, that's March 24th. Maybe we're falling a little bit. We're at 71 cents and we're popping back up. This could be a little bit of a brutal roller coaster for ADA on the shorter term, but that's just some structure I'm watching. Notice the target to the downside, right around the lower trend line. So I hate to say it, but it's just something that's in play. If we zoom out on the charts, though, I truly think where we are in terms of these cycles is ADA is at the brink of an incredible breakout. And in the sense of, or in similarity to what we saw last cycle. And, ADA doubted for years. ADA has been doubted nonstop. And it just wouldn't be a surprise to me at all to see ADA do exactly what it did last cycle and absolutely just explode. So it's just a matter of tracking it, even on the shorter term, to get a sense of where we are, to really get the pulse check on ADA price as well. And that's just some of the things I'm watching for ADA. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate you. This is me just tracking my crypto journey, everybody. I'm bullish on ADA, on Bitcoin, on crypto in general. ADA, obviously, the fundamentals of Cardano, I think, as a value investor, are something that's important to me. And so that's one big reason why I think ADA is going to do just well, just fine. But either way, hit the subscribe, turn notifications on, get notified when I do these Bitcoin, ADA, crypto news videos, and smash that like button if you got any value or enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.